This article was entitled Bird Flu Near Deadly Form. Now this is a picture of David Nabarro, and you'll notice he's in front of a United Nations banner there where he's speaking. And if you notice, that banner, which is essentially a picture of the world, has a wreath around it. And in Roman times when they had the Olympics, what would happen is if a person had actually won an event in the Olympics, this is going way, way back, when it very first started, they were awarded a wreath that they were to be worn on their head. What that wreath symbolized, that they had conquered that given event that they had won. Well, when you see the wreath wrapped around a globe and all the countries within it, what the United Nations is telegraphing to you is that their goal is world domination, to conquer the world. So that's just a little side note there for you. This is from Agence France Press, and this says, recently UN bird flu chief Dr. David Nabarro told governments around the world to prepare for the arrival of a human-to-human strain of the virus, quote, as if it will happen tomorrow. Now this is what the head guy's saying. This article is entitled Bird Flu Virus Has Mutated into a Form That's Deadly to Humans. I just added this on tonight. And this was 3608. This just came out today, which is the date of the recording. The avian flu has undergone a critical mutation, making it easier for the virus to infect humans. According to a study conducted by researchers at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, one of the primary things that keeps the bird flu from infecting humans is that the virus has evolved to reproduce most effectively in the bodies of birds, which have an average body temperature of 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Humans, in contrast, have an average body temperature of 98.6 degrees. This vast temperature difference makes it very difficult for the bird flu virus to survive and grow in the human body because of the temperature differentiation that we just mentioned. In the current study, researchers found that a strain of H5N1, now when you see that H5N1, that is the actual way that we recognize the current avian bird flu. There's many, many bird flus. Okay, but the H5N1 is the one that has been talked about not only now but obviously in years past. So in the current study, researchers found that the strain of H5N1 has developed a mutation that allows it to thrive in these lower temperatures. So this is pretty big news in regard to the bird flu. Avian H5N1 facts. H5N1 bird flu virus was originally isolated 45 years ago in South African terns, which is a type of bird. So it's actually been around for 45 years. The 1996 H5N1 was again isolated in a farmed goose in China just outside of Hong Kong. Humans can become infected by, number one, direct contact with infected birds, 2, infected equipment, 3, raw poultry products, 4, bird droppings, and 5, contaminated soil. Now what I'm doing in this presentation is I'm presenting both sides of the story. I'm presenting the side that we're getting from Centers for Disease Control and the various experts on avian flu, and we're also going to be looking at another side, because I think it's important to present both sides in order to be objective. Now, here's a typical example of a small child here having close interaction with a bird. And in a lot of these third world countries, there is a lot of direct interaction with birds, and this is why those are the very same countries where you've seen a lot of the actual outbreaks of the H5N1 bird flu virus. The avian virus lives up to 3 weeks at cooler temperatures and 1 week at room temperature. A single gram, which isn't very much, a single gram of contaminated manure can infect up to 1 million birds. The main North American risk in regard to the virus coming here would be the bird migration through Alaska. Now there's 6 million birds and 4 species, so that gives you kind of an idea of how many birds that come to America. How the avian flu virus may evolve in humans. Now this is an actual picture of H5N1 bird flu virus up to the right. Number 1, a typical virus enters into the human host. 2, the virus then releases its genetic material. or RNA, which stands for ribonucleic acid, releases that into the body. If the avian virus H5N1 is also present in the body at the same time, so there's a virus that enters in, and then the H5N1 has to be in there at the same time, both of these viruses could simultaneously be releasing their RNA at the same time. Theoretically, the two different RNAs could combine to form a new mutated avian flu strain that could be lethal and readily pass from human to human. Sounding the alarm, Dr. Robert G. Webster of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, is one of the world's leading infectious disease experts and is credited with being the first one to discover the link between the bird flu and the human flu. He is quoted as saying, quote, "Society just can't accept the idea that 50% of the population could die, and I think we have to face that possibility." The flu pandemic remains the #1 health threat. This is 5/14/07, and from swissinfo.org, and there's the full link for you. A human bird flu pandemic is still the biggest global health threat, according to a senior Swiss official speaking on the eve of the 60th World Health Assembly. Quote, "We still have an epidemic in birds. We still have regular transmission from bird to humans, and that means the threat is still there." Gardens, I can't even say his last name, who knows. He is the head of the international affairs at the Federal Health Office, and he told this to Swiss Info. So again, even though it's been a little while since I've actually done that tour that I mentioned, the rhetoric is still there. It's still the same. Nothing has changed at all. In fact, it's building, as we'll see. Now, the H5N1 avian bird flu statistics in comparison. This was from 3/06. At that point, there was 186 confirmed H5N1 cases. I believe right now we're dealing with 250, approximately. Of those 186 cases, 105 deaths occurred, which would actually equal a 56% kill rate. Right now, the kill rate is actually up to 60%. Now, the Spanish flu of 19 was the H3N2 variety. Okay, so we have H5N1, which is the bird flu you're hearing all about now. Then we have the H3N2, which was the bird flu that caused the Spanish flu of 1918. Now that, in comparison, only had a 30% kill rate, which was half of what it is now. So the current H5N1 has an 86% higher kill rate, actually even higher now, than the 1918 H3N2. Approximately 50 million people died from the 1918 H3N2 outbreak. The 1918 world population was 2 billion. Now the 2008 is 6.6 billion. Applying the data above, 280 million people would actually potentially die from the H5N1 bird flu virus. That picture in the right-hand corner is actually a picture of the H3N2 of 1918.